Hello everyone, my name is Wendy. In this video we will look at how to create a duotone effect in Gimp. I'll be using Windows and Gimp 2.10.22, which is the latest version of Gimp at the time this video was created. If you'd like to follow along, I downloaded this image from freepik.com and I'll leave a link in the description below. There are a number of methods to achieve a duotone effect. In this video we will look at two of those methods. The duotone effect is the recreation of an image using two colors. The first color is for the darker parts of the image, and the second color for the lighter parts. The duotone effect works best on images with a lot of contrast or a solid color background, and on occasions the background is completely removed. However, that all depends on what effect you're looking for. So let's get started. In the first method, we will use two solid colors and two of the most popular blending modes in Gimp, Screen and Multiply. Let's go to the File menu and open the image. Navigate to the file where your image is, then hit Open. This image is 1500 by 1125 and has a resolution of 300 pixels. I'm happy with that, so let's carry on. Now come over to the Layers panel. Double-click on the title and we'll change the name. I'll just type in Duotone 02. Before we move on, let's create a duplicate of the image. Drop down to the menu below and click on the Duplicate this layer button. I'll just call this one Duotone 01 as it will be the first one that we create. Let's start by enlarging the view of the image. Come up to the View menu and under Zoom, select Fit Image to Window. Okay, for this method, I prefer to use a black and white image. So come up to the Colors menu and select Desaturate. Now let's have a look at the 5 different options to convert a color image into black and white. Gimp uses a different formula to calculate the shades of grey for each operation. First we have luminance, luma, lightness, average, and value. I'll select luminance because the black and white results have the same luminance as the colors in the original image. However, you can select what looks best for your image, then hit OK. Now I'm going to tweak the brightness and contrast a little. Come up to the Color menu and select Brightness and Contrast. I'll drag the slider along a little on the brightness and also on the contrast, and then I'll hit OK. Next we're going to create a new layer, so come over to the Layers panel and click on the Create a New Layer button, which is in the menu below. I'm going to leave all the default settings, keep transparency for the moment, and then hit OK. Make sure this layer is above the image. Now come over to the foreground color selector. You can experiment here with your own colors. If not, just copy the HTML notations. 6466 F9 and hit OK. Now come back to the foreground color box. Click hold and drag the color box over to the canvas. Then release the mouse. The first color will be for the darker parts of the image. So come over to the Layers panel now. Open the Blending Modes menu, scroll down and select Screen. Now this has made the image appear lighter and washed out. Let's create the second layer. Come down to the panel below and create a new layer. Then we'll come up to the foreground color selector and change the color. If you want, you can copy the HTML notations. It is FF 8F C9 and then hit OK. Click hold and drag the foreground color box onto the canvas and then release the mouse. Come over to the Layers panel and back into the blend modes. This time we're going to select Multiply. This will have the opposite effect from the Screen mode. This will affect the darker areas and also it will colorize the whiter areas, creating this awesome duotone effect. With this method, you have a lot of control over different modifications that you could make. We could change the opacity on either of the layers. I'm just going to leave it as it is. What I'll do now is merge the layers. Select the first layer, which is directly above the image. It should be the bluey purpley color. Then drop down to the menu below and select the Merge Layer button. This will merge both layers into one layer. Now let's do the same again for the pink layer. Select the pink layer, come down to the bottom menu and select the Merge This Layer button. We can still tweak this a little more. Come up to the Color menu and select Curves. Click on the top part of the curve to create an anchor point, then drag it up slightly to lighten the image. Then come down to the other end of the curve, click to add an anchor point and drag the curve down slightly. This will darken the darker tones a little. When you're happy with the result, hit OK. Now let's have a look at the second method. First come over to the Layers panel and select the layer. Click, hold and drag it above the other image. For this method, we'll use the gradient map. This time we won't convert the image to black and white. So come over to the foreground and background colors. You can experiment with different colors or copy the HTML notation. The first color is 380E24 and hit OK. Next, click on the little arrow to switch the foreground and background color. And this time the HTML notation is F7915F and hit OK. Hit the small arrow again so that the darker color is on the top. Now come up to the toolbox and select the Gradient tool. It is in the submenu of the Bucket Fill tool. Here in the settings, select Foreground to Background RGB. Now we're going to open the Gradient dialog. If you can't see it in any of the panels, come up to Windows, Dockable Dialogs, and select Gradient. This gradient has the darker color on the left and the lighter color is on the right. Okay, now we have everything set up. Come up to the Color menu, go to Map and Gradient Map. Wait a second, and then you have this awesome duotone effect. I like the results. However, I'm going to tweak it just a little more. Come up to the Color menu and select Curves. Let's do the same as we did before. Click at the top part of the curve to create an anchor point, then drag it up slightly to lighten the image. Then come down to the end of the curve, click to add an anchor point and drag it down slightly. When you're happy with the results, hit OK. And here we have two different methods and very similar results. I'm pleased with both results. One gives you a little more control over the other. However, with both methods, you can achieve some awesome duotone effects. We'll wrap up here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy!